Hey young world,
The world is yours.
hey young world,
The world is yours.
young world, young world,
The world is yours.
You mentioned our village youngins and our youth throughout the city as a part of what really makes us one heart, one love, one community. We also know that there is a portion of our youth that are using their just brilliant minds and idle hands to definitely do the devil's work. So I want to ask our panel, throughout your work in the community, what are you doing to reduce crime, reduce truancy, and elevate our village youth?
I can start with this one. We run an entire community center that's named Fihombra Coma in Tuaso. It means Safe Places, Linked Hearts, and we welcome all of our youth participants in the community, and we give them a safe, nurturing space where they can actually be kids, be authentic, and we don't shy away from those conversations that people think kids are too young to have. We keep them engaged by giving them an active voice in our space. Sometimes you might walk in and it looks like organized chaos, because our youth participants actually, they might run us a little bit. They might have us being minions in the space, because we really want them to be engaged and have a voice in what it is that we say or do, to the point that we have a youth panel that tells us the different things that the kids want to do in our community, and we have an 89% retention rate. They come to us even on days when they don't have school, and we just make it as safe and nurturing as possible. They design it themselves, they run it themselves, they feed themselves. We are just here to support them and answer the questions that they might go to their peers to answer, which we want them to, but we don't want them to in some instances. So just creating that space where they can really be kids and feel and learn and grow together.
Jojo, before we move on, for you, we were talking before we started this panel about the importance of the actual community showing up with fundage, a couple coins, but also in presence and volunteering. So can you speak a little bit to how that also helps run what you're doing at Fan DC?
Yes, we have lots of volunteer opportunities. There's mentorship, there's possibilities for the board level. Volunteers are what keeps the center going, and what keeps the kids engaged also. The one most important thing that kids need is time and consistency and routine. And when they have that, and when they know that you care and that you're going to consistently show up, they are going to come and show up themselves. Just to talk a little bit about our process getting here today. Sorry if I'm taking up too much time, but we ran into some kids when we were canvassing yesterday, and when we initially saw them on the street, they weren't really paying us any attention.
Thank you. Would anyone else on the panel like to share what they're doing to reduce crime, truancy, and elevate our youth?
Yes, one of the things you talked about, Poe, was about the word credible messengers. One of the things we've done, I guess, in the last couple of years was to empower more people from the community to be hired to work in our community, because I believe that God gave us a solution within our own selves. And so sometimes we shun those who may have a brush with the law, may have been incarcerated and came back to our community, but those are the individuals who could be those who help turn this violence around in our community, who people respect and love, and we are all interconnected. So that's somebody's uncle, that's somebody's aunt, that's somebody's nephew, that's somebody's grandson. And so we've done that, and we haven't done enough of that, but we can definitely do more, but create more opportunities. I believe that all young people want to do something right, but if we don't create the opportunity to do something productive, sometimes they do stuff destructive. And so one of the things we did, even with young adults, was to create a DCIA, DC Infrastructure Academy, which is right here on Pomeroy Road, to get people into careers, not just jobs, but careers. We have Pepco, DC Water, Washington Gas, solar panel, and also CDL training right here in our community. So I worked on that probably about 5 years ago. And as you know, summer job is good, but not all of our young people make it in summer job. And so I've been putting more money into what is called the Office of Out of School Time, designed to create more programming for youth and young adults, even kids, before school, during school, and after school. And so one of the things I'm working on that's new is to create peer mediators inside of our schools. And we hire kids while they're in high school only to be peer mediators inside their schools, to get paid to do that year round. Because we know that the greatest influence on a young person sometimes is another young person, because they know what their friends into, what the text message will be, what the argument is or beef is on Instagram or online before it escalates to a fight or a shooting or adult. And so we want to empower them to be their own examples, their own solution within the community. So I just think we have to do a better job with the $20 billion we got in our budget to really be about community. We haven't done enough of that, and we have to, bring people together, create think tanks, to put money and resources where those areas that need it the most. And so we talked about creating a healthcare system in Ward 8. So we're putting a brand new hospital in Ward 8 in St. Louis East Campus. We got to build more deep level, real affordable housing, because a housing crisis, a health crisis, was a public safety crisis. And you know that when you don't invest into the people and you divest into them, we have to pay later. And we don't want to create more. The school to prison pipeline was perpetuated in our school system. We simply throw our kids away because they can't do well on a test, or we don't have people to address their needs or hear from them or deal with their trauma. And I can go on and on about this because this is my hobby. This is the work I do 16 hours a day. And so I think that we have to hold each other accountable, not just the police department, because the police department can't do everything when it comes to public safety. There are other organizations, there are other grandmas, aunties, fathers, mothers that have to be held accountable as well, including myself. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to weigh in?
Y'all gonna charge me for
I can weigh in from the police department side. So I believe one of the biggest challenges we've had, and fortunately enough I can speak about this because I spent more than half of my career dealing with youth in some aspect or another, creating positive social programs, building out the cadet program, as well as leading the charge from 21 to 22 for our SROs to the scale down process. The school resource officers. So I think one of the biggest things is that we have to give the kids a voice. In 2021, I believe it was, I put on a youth summit for Chief Conte. We brought 100 youth. A lot of people didn't think we would get 100 youth to come out from various places all over the city. We didn't give them money. We didn't offer them anything. We offered them a voice to come out, be heard. What do you want to see differently in your community? And too often we sometimes forget that. Too often we tend to talk at them instead of with them. And through my work, I realized that the conversation has to be had in unison, right? It has to be a ebb and flow. We got to give, and we also got to receive. So much day. But sometimes it's the messengers. The messengers turn off the kids, so we can't hear their messages. Sometimes it's the way we deliver the message. It's a new generation, so we have to talk in their language so that they can understand what we're saying. We also have to hear what they're saying. So I think one of the most important things that we can do going forward is host more spaces like this, more opportunities like JoJo's community center, and then just be able to just hear what the youth are saying, what they need, and kind of work with them in those spaces.
Okay, so let me start over. I'm going to address the issue about truancy. And in order to address truancy, we have to look at what's causing truancy. Some of our children are not going to school because they're afraid to go to school. There are gangs in schools, and there's fighting in schools, there's drugs in schools, and so they would rather stay home with a safer place. Some of our children are not going to school because of academic deficiencies. They're struggling academically, so they would rather you know that they failed school because they didn't go to school, as opposed to being thought to be a fool. So they stay home so that they won't be clowned, if you will. And then you have some that are grieving. They're grieving from the loss of their friends and peers. And then you have those who have become lazy because when we were in the pandemic, they were on computers and they went to school a half a day, and they've taken that same lackadaisical attitude to school. Now I'm gonna put it on the teachers too, because I'm a retired teacher. If the classroom setting is not challenging, then the children are gonna find themselves bored and not coming to class. And they can miss 3 days of class and then come back and take the makeup work in 1 day. So in their mind, it's like, why do I need to go the whole time when I can come and do makeup in 1 day and miss the other 3 days? But then we also have the parents. We need Big Mama, y'all. We need Big Mama back home, because Big Mama was there to help us raise the kids. And Big Mama would come with her house coat and her rollers in her head and let you know that she was there to reprimand you for acting up in school. But it takes a whole village. It takes home, it takes school, and it takes the church. And here at St. John, we're trying so many things to reach our youth. We have Sister Cherie Hyatt, wave your hand, and she's with our youth. And we have Sister DeGroat and Sister Johnson, who works with our children. And we have activities for our young adults as well, where we're trying to reach them body, mind, and spirit. We also are thinking about doing an after-school program, right, where we can do tutoring with our students and help them to reach the level that they need in order to be successful in school. So those are some of the things we can do for truancy. But we also can reward them when they do well. So in the church, we can recognize them when they have a wonderful report card as well as their attendance. And you know what they say, that if you continue to reward people when they're doing well, they will continue to do that. And so that's what we want to do here.
Thank you, everyone, for your answers. I also want to add to the community, sometimes it's about what you're showcasing. For a lot of our youngins, the things that they see the most live in their household. You're right next to them. So for my adults of the village, let's be mindful of what kind of actions we're showing our youngins, because we're supposed to lead them. And some of us are acting like we wilding out. So if my parents are wilding out, if when my mother's on the phone, I'm hearing her call her girlfriend everything but a beautiful woman and a creator of God, then when I hang with my friends, what you think I'm gonna tell them? If you rolling up your J's in front of me at 5 and 6, you're normalizing drug use. I ain't here to yuck nobody's yum, but we gotta be mindful of the example as adults and leaders of the village, personalities who are in front of people, what we're showing as the positive thing to do. And then I'd also like for you to take a look at your social. If everywhere that I go, everybody that I follow is posting the most negative things, all the fights, all the tea, all the gossip, all our babies are gonna do is look at that and say, is that what makes the news? Is that what sells? Is that what gets the attention? Because a lot of them just want somebody to hug them and say, I love you, I see you, and I care if you get the next day. So when you're posting, when you're sharing, think about what you're planting for those who have eyes on your timeline, because all of that matters. And a lot of times we say that it doesn't. We like to blame the music and what they see on TV. The music and TV been dirty since I was a kid. But what they see is their aunts, their cousins, their uncles at the cookout, at the family parties, and everything in between. And then the next time you get an opportunity, the youngin in your life, turn to them and be like, yo, I love you, yo. And if you need anything at all, if you can't talk to your mother, call me. Can't talk to your father, call me. And then some of us have to be okay with stepping into spaces where there's not anyone. I don't have any kids, but anybody that got a kid know their kid can call me. You know what I mean? So as we think about what community looks like, it's cool for us to tell the politicians, the teachers, and everything what they need to do, but a lot of this starts at home. Some of us know the block spinners and the shooters, and we won't turn them in, and they sleeping downstairs in the basement. And we can't let it be when somebody takes something of yours or rob you, that it's an issue that everybody needs to be with. You should be bothered when they rob somebody else's aunt, or when they take the life of somebody else's kid. So that's my 2 cents. I wasn't asked to do that, but I'm gonna tell y'all anyway. And then finally, before we get to your questions, if you have any, the final question, is there anything that you'd like to address before we close and ask our community to ask questions that y'all are working on that we didn't get to talk about on this panel?
I guess for me, growing up in this community, I used to always go to recreation centers, play sports, coaches, and just have a good time without worrying about a lot. Even though it was a lot of violence, I never really felt it. And growing up, I noticed that a lot of recreation centers have been closed down over the years. For example, Old Rec closed, Blue Rec closed, Ketchum Rec closed, Number 11 Boys and Girls Club closed, Kramer Rec closed, PR Hers Rec closed. I can go on and on. And this is the community that got the most youth out of anywhere in Washington, D.C. And so one of the things I can do is not just talk about the problem, but create solutions. So right now we're building 6 brand new recreation centers here in Ward 8.
All right.
We're building 6 brand new recreation centers here in Ward 8. We got one that's under construction right now in Anacostia in the back of Ketchum. Right here, Henson Ridge, Congress Heights, Douglas, Fort Grabble. There's 2 more. Oh, we finished the one in Furby Hope. And so it's about having something for them to do when they go in the building, not just a brand new shiny building, but having people that look like them, represent that can speak their language and get adequate programming that can speak to get them involved. Because we used to have, when I grew up, you was even a college track or a career track. You had somewhere you was going when you was going to school, and now we just hoping that kids graduate from high school to live in DC was becoming unaffordable every day. You hear about affordable housing. We say affordable for who? And we see the price of living just keep going up and up, but it's not reflective in our incomes. And so we have to create pathways for people can earn adequate incomes to live, and not just survive, but thrive in our community. We got to talk about business ownership. about home ownership. I see the band here who are entrepreneurs doing a great job. Give a sound of round of applause for the two bands that came here today that give entertainment and love in our community, especially the gospel bands, man. We need more positivity, positive message, and positive imagery. And that's why I mentor inside the schools, because people need to see us and feel us and know that we're not much different than them, but you're just born before them because we're older. And so sometimes we got to take off the title, take off the stipulations of who we are and what we represent. We just hear and hear from them so they can know that we've been through some of the same things. Because they never seen us when we was 12 years old or 15 years old. So they have to empathize. We have to empathize with what they're going through and help them to get through it by just a hug, like the pastor said, or a conversation, like they're saying, because they need us just as much as we need them. Because we say the community, we say the kids got next, but they have now. We're not gonna be a strong community unless we invest into our young people. I'm gonna say it again, we're not gonna be a strong community unless we be intentional about investing and believing and pushing our young people. I heard Pastor say something about us going to school and not being paying attention and encouraging, we want to see more of. I was one of those kids who had a learning disability coming up. And I was facing self-esteem issues. I was already small for my size coming into school, so I used to just do stuff just because I felt like I didn't want nobody to pick on me. I have a defense mechanism. And so when my grandmother learned that the school said I had a learning disability, I know we at a church, but she said you're gonna get your black A in that school and you're gonna learn. And that's all I needed. And it's about us believing and pushing our kids beyond their limits of what they think about themselves. Because we don't create the positive narrative of who they are, they're gonna believe what the streets gonna tell them who they are. And I'm the same guy that graduated from college, the top 10% of the university. My brother used to show, went on to undergrad, law school, and came becoming a councilmember, the kid with a learning disability. And so it's really about what we believe about ourselves and who we really are, and that's the big narrative. If you believe you're a spinner, you're gonna be spinning. If you believe you're a gangster, you're gonna be a gangster. But if you believe you can God say you who you are, then you're gonna believe that. We gotta put more of those images and conversations to our young people's minds so they can believe who they are. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you for everybody for coming out today. I've been in this community for the last couple months and got to know everybody, walked through the community, tried to express so much love, and it was funny because I got nothing but love right back. And I came here to try to bring a little bit of funding to fan organization and some inspiration and love to the community. But what ended up happening is, man, I was going through something, and man, I got more out of this than I gave. It's crazy. So that taught me one lesson that I want to convey to you all. Man, love is contagious. So man, show love. That's it. Just show love. It's contagious. Show love. That's it. God is love. So show love. And y'all, thank y'all for making my first event with God Speaks a success, with grace, peace, love, and communion. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love this community. I hope y'all adopted me. I want y'all to say one love. At the count of 3, we're gonna say it. 1, 2, 3. One love, one heart, one community. Thank y'all. I love y'all.
That's what's up. Two.